bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler on Penfield Town Court. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime. I want to be absolutely clear about what I'm telling you. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court. Fuck you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. I'm not going to appear in there for you to just declare me guilty. I will not do that. And I do not care about you filing additional criminal charges, additional concoctions, because I have never committed a crime. I'm going to tell you the way the United States of America works, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal. You don't sit in your little library and decide I need to go to the jail and summon me and call the sheriff's office and have me appear in front of you and you declare me guilty and I go to jail. That's not the way the United States of America works. And that's exactly what you're doing and what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. Where's the jury, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal? When you tell me where a jury is, I'll appear in front of a jury because the jury doesn't send me anywhere. And what you're refusing to do is send me a list of every defendant in Penfield Town Court so I can see when a citizen has been acquitted. And that person doesn't exist. Isn't that right? Because I have it right here. I sent this to you on December 16th. You have it. And I'm trying to reach you multiple ways so you can't block me on your email. What's that say about you? That you're trying to block me on your email accounts. There's multiple email accounts I can use to reach you. This was sent on December 16th. That ain't charged the sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Lomenzo Jr., James C. Muller Jr., and Paula Metzler. December 16th. You refuse to comply with this because every single person in Penfield Town Court is adjudicated guilty by you. And how is that explained to the United States Department of Justice? I'm waiting for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to get here and start pounding on the side of the residence, pounding on the front door, screaming my name. That was because of you. Did you see that, YouTube? It's called hatred. That's because of your hatred. Your hatred descended upon me when they were screaming my name, pounding on every side of the residence. I had multiple neighbors, 10 plus neighbors come to see me and say, what is going on? And I said, that's because it's Paula Metzler in Penfield Town Court. And one of these individuals used a 4-letter word to describe you that begins with a C. Can you guess what that word is? Because he knows you. He knows you because guilty, 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 guilty. You received an charge sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court on December 16th. Same document, December 17th. Same document, December 18th. Same document, December 26th. Same document, December 27th. Same document, December 28th. Same document, December 29th. Same document, December 30th. Same document, January 2nd of the year 2021. Same document, January 3rd. Same document, January 5th. Same document, January 6th. So, I know you were told there would be no math, you bald-headed, wig-wearing hack, and criminal, but I'm going to tell you how many it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times from you, bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal Paula Metzler doesn't know what century he lives in. 12 times. Because everybody's guilty. How do you explain to the employees at the Department of Justice, the employees of Governor Andrew Cuomo, the employees at the New York State Senate, New York State Assembly, that everybody's guilty in Penfield Town Court? That's why you refuse to comply. There's no interest from John P. Lomenzo Jr., you bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, James C. Muller Jr., about innocence. There's no interest in the facts of a case because you're an employee of Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Dorley, and you are a disgusting, vile, sickening, nauseating disgrace. You are corrupt to your bone marrow. See what's over my right shoulder? That's shampoo. I'm going to get to that momentarily. Comply with the law. Every one of these is attached, and you will refuse. You know why you're going to refuse? Because everyone's guilty. I will never go into Penfield Town Court and be absolutely clear. If I make an appearance, I'll have to be forcibly deposited in there, attacked and assaulted like I was on August 30th by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I want to tell the United States Department of Justice that you were called and told to be in Penfield Town Court. I'm not even aware I'm supposed to be in there. I'm walking past the pharmacy entrance of Wegmans, 5 vehicles, 10 employees got out. One of them ran at me, lowered his shoulder, knocked me to the ground. My head slammed against the concrete pavement. I went to get an MRI, and there you are in Penfield Town Court. Did Sheriff Todd Baxter call you and tell you to be in Penfield Town Court? Is the answer yes or no? And you will refuse. How do you possibly conclude that I'm supposed to be in Penfield Town Court when you're corrupt your bone out? You're sitting there waiting for me after they attacked and assaulted. They committed a violent crime upon me to get me in there. And I'm not even aware I'm supposed to be in there that time. Now I am, and fuck you. I will never appear in there. I want to be absolutely clear, and I will repeat myself given your age. And also, to hammer into corruption. If I'm in Penfield Town Court and I'm in front of you, I'll be screaming at you. This is going to be the most ferocious sound you have ever heard. And I'm going to be using language to describe you, Paula Metzler, a particular word. When I'm screaming at you and over, you will not be able to talk. I don't care about being held in contempt. I don't care about courtroom procedure because you're just there to declare me guilty. When I was in Penfield County Court, there's not one reason, not one question, pardon me. Why are you here? Guilty, guilty, guilty. That's why I refuse to comply with these Freedom of Information Law documents. Paula, did you call the sheriff's office already this morning? Because it's 11:48. Are they going to be here pounding on the side of the residence, pounding on my front door, screaming my name? That YouTube is called hatred. Watch that. That's your hatred. You did that to me because you called the sheriff's office, correct? Send me a list of every defendant in Penfield Town Court, including you, James P. Mully Jr. You, James P. Mully Jr., this Jermaine Bettman snaps my head back at the gym. I'm charged with harassment second, sitting in the backseat of a vehicle. And you, James P. Mully Jr., negotiated a deal with Jessica Wagner, the district attorney's office, the attorney for Jermaine Bettman, to let this violent thug who snapped my head back at the gym walk right out the door. How do you explain that, James P. Mully Jr.? How old are you? You're in the same ballpark, 70 years of age as Paula Metzler, right? What I'm also going to demand also is you disclose your personal finances. And I'm in the process of determining that for you, two disgusting hacks, and Sheriff Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Dorley. Where's your money? Because I demand to know if you have a conflict of interest for a defendant that appears in front of you. You will refuse. I hope that petrifies you, what I just said. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court being John Pilamento, Jr., James P. Mully, Jr., Paula Metzler. Do you understand that language? And the answer is no. Corruption doesn't understand, and corruption refuses. So perhaps I may repeat that again. Now, Paula, I'm going to tell you what I use on my glorious hair. And you can't use this, Paula. So I use an Axe Night 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. But, you got that wig glued to your bald head. And unfortunately, Paula, you can't use Axe 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner there, honey. And also, sometimes I go from a night to the forest, and for my glorious hair, and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's an Axe for it. You see, you got that bald head, you got that wig glued to your bald head, giving you age. Is the glue seeping into your brain? Is that why you're a criminal in Penfield Town Court and you have no interest in the facts of a defendant there? Is the glue getting into your brain? That's what I want to know, honey. All right, now, Paula, I'm going to tell you what I use here. This is Fructus Style here, order. And, you're a Third Reich fanatic for order. So, I use a power hairspray for men. I use some of my glorious. Hey, see, with that bald head that you have there, Paul, you can't use power hairspray. That's real unfortunate for you and your bald head, Paula. And I use this LA Looks here, Extreme Sport. You're an extremist, but even though you're an extremist, you can't use LA Looks Extreme Sport because you got that bald head, you got the wig on there. I mean, you got a lot going on there with that freak show that is you, Paula Metzler. Speaking of a freak show, I'm going to tell you who you're watching these parasites, Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court. Fuck you, bald head, wig around Paula Metzler. You're just there to declare me guilty. When there's a jury in Penfield Town Court, I'll appear in Penfield Town Court. I'm walking my dog every day for 7 years and 4,000 times. I'm going to tell you about these two parasites that keep coming to you. I went to Lollipop Farm Humane Society with my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, who lived in Webster. Laura and I wanted to give a dog a home that nobody wanted. And we were interviewed. Laura and I were both asked, do you have a criminal record? And we both replied, no. We were approved. And went to the cages, and it was such a perfect day for Laura and I. And there he was sitting down there. And Laura said to me, he's looking right at you. We signed the paperwork. You took him home. So we were asked on a full background check about criminal records. The answer from both of us is no. And as I sit here, I've never committed a crime. That's totally irrelevant to you. I would have not been able to adopt my little guy who was with me for 8 years if I had a criminal record. So one day, the back window from this repulsive shack the Shah law firm from Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah keep coming to you at your office, and I'm going to be in contact with them. I signed an order of protection and handcuffs. Had to explain to the Department of Justice that I signed an order of protection and handcuffs. I send them an email, and because of an email that they were on, you're trying to send me to jail. That can't be explained because that's fanaticism and corruption and extremism. And you, Paula Metzler and James P. Mully Jr. are fanaticism, corruption, and extremism. And that's what I have living next to me here. The reason why the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, and you bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler never heard my name is my dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, was in that building. She sees people walk through that parking lot all day long. They aren't calling the sheriff to come to my residence to seize my little guy. The back window from this law firm, and I question if it's a firm, because who the hell would want to be clients for them? Flies open. A woman is screaming at me, and that's what they do. He screamed at me one time in the parking lot, but not for anybody else. Not for the 200 people I personally witnessed after the fireworks at Harris Whalen Park on June 30, 2019. Accusatory instruments fees walked through the parking lot. I watched 200 people walk through that parking lot in a 15-minute period on June 30, 2019 after the fireworks at Harris Whalen Park. How many of those people arrested? Zero. If I walk through that parking lot, I'll be arrested. Lunatic fringe for Layla Kumar and Nair Shah, and that's who you with. And fuck you, bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler. So I'm walking my dog the same way. I come back in an hour later. There's pounding on my door. You hear that pounding on my residence because of you and that YouTube I call hatred? They're pounding on my door. I'm waiting for them to lose their minds now on this YouTube. I hope they come here while I'm doing this. I hope they come here and rush into my residence and violently take me away from my laptop here. I hope that happens, because that's just more evidence of corruption, extremism, and hatred. So this is who you're with, these parasites that you were with. And you're a parasite, Paula Metzler. You should be able to identify one, because you are one. Pounding on my door, open the door, and there's 2 Monroe County Sheriff's Office with Animal Patrol. He's got a 10-foot pole in his hand. My little guy weighs 15 pounds. There's a vicious confrontation at my door. I say, you'll have to kill me to take my little guy from me. Todd Baxter doesn't even know people love their dogs. Beniraj and Layla Kumar Shah believe the cops should go to the house of an innocent man and seize his dog. This is what you're with. This is the hatred that you're with. I asked you in Penfield Town Court, do you have a dog? And I told you briefly about this. And again, it's fucking deer in the headlights. You have perfected deer in the headlights. That's the way you look. When the truth is presented to you, you bald-headed, wig-wearing, nauseating criminal, it's deer in the headlights from you. I slammed the door in the faces of these Monroe County Sheriff Office employees in animal control when I said, you have to kill me to take my little guy. I walked back to his dog bed. My mom and dad got me. He was shaking in his dog bed. I almost cried. I really did. Because when I picked him up, he was shaking. And I said, nobody's ever going to take you from me. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. I still love you. Everything's fine. This is what these people are doing to me. Todd Baxter and his employees are fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths. And I've been calling him and his employees fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths for 18 months for showing up to seize my little guy, when all I'm doing is walking in the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times. So, Paula, how you doing with your bald head here? What I want to know. I mean, those products are going to help you, with your bald head of fanaticism here. Because you could get your bald head extra shiny before you put your wig on it. All right? And Paula, really, you need to stop hanging around with this guy here, Paula. Because this guy is a bad influence on you. And can you tell me about this greaseball haircut, this guy has here that you're infatuated with? Because I don't get this. He's got this little square mustache below his nose. I don't quite understand this small square mustache that your mentor has here, Paula Metzler. Can you help me out with that? I'm really confused about this here. And he has this tough guy look on his face, your mentor. And I'm just not getting that Paula Metzler about your mentor here. And can you tell me, he's got this thing he's doing here. He holds his arm out like that, this arm action. Paula Metzler, I just don't understand your mentor and this incoherence with this arm action here. And, here's one of your favorite books here, Paula Metzler, The Diary of Ava Braun. How did you like reading this book here about your mentor? Huh? Tell me how, was that a good read? Did you get that on Amazon? Huh? Let me know how that went, honey, okay? And, here he is again. Here he is with Benito Mussolini, and you should be able to recognize a fanatic because he is one. So, now, Paula Metzler, send me a list of defendants in Penfield Town Court. Click reply and send it to me. I will never go into Penfield Town Court. Fuck you, Paula Metzler. Paula Metzler, does the name John P. Lomenzo Jr. sound familiar? This guy who thinks he should be on the United States Supreme Court and all he is a hack consumed by hatred. And you understand a hack consumed by hatred because you are one. Certified mail, 4 Forest Grove Court. Have you been to his residence? at Forest Grove Court, afraid to open his mail. What do you think's in here? Demanding a list of his cases. You have a list of cases. Send them to me. Click reply and send it to me. You're thinking, we need to call the sheriff's office and go to his house and have him arrested. Exactly what you're thinking. Fuck you, Paula Metzler and James Miller Jr. This guy allowed a child rapist, Daniel DeLaus III, to go free, and he was subsequently rearrested in our legitimate arrest. I don't believe everybody's innocent just because of his descent on my life. I have never committed a crime, you bald-headed, wig-wearing hack, Paula Metzler. Here he is right here. Certified mail refused. I want a list of his cases, and I'm going to send you the Freedom of Information Law for his cases going back to day one on Penfield Town Court. I want a list of every case from you as I just demanded. Where is it? Where is it, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler? Where is it, James P. Miller Jr.? How are you going to explain to the United States Department that everybody's guilty? That's why you're refusing to comply. Because every single person that appears in Penfield Town Court is adjudicated by you two criminals, and the facts are totally irrelevant. So I'm in contact with him again. I'm not just putting this in the mail with certified mail. Refused again. List of his case. I'm also telling him that I think he's a repulsive hack, writing an order of protection for me. Jermaine Benman snaps my head back at the gym. I've said this repeatedly. I go to the now defunct Peter Fitness on the back. He snaps my head back. He writes an order of protection for me to avoid Jermaine Benman. Jermaine Benman is walking through the parking lot at Wegmans. I'm passing him. I screamed at Jermaine Benman. This is the incoherence, the criminal personality of the guy you replaced. This violent dog, Jermaine Benman, snaps my head back at Jim, and there he is with this repulsive order of protection because he just believes it's a humiliation device. That's why he's using it upon me, and you're using it upon me for Nairaj and Lady Kumar Shah. The truth of why I'm in Penfield Town Court is irrelevant to you. You believe in humiliation, and that's why you have that order of protection. I signed in handcuffs, and I know I'm not coming out of those handcuffs unless I sign it, and that's how you're trying to send me back to jail because they were on an email link, and you will have to explain that to the Department of Justice, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal Paula Metzler. Explain that. John P. Metzler Jr., again, he refused. That's not registered mail. But the next, that's not certified mail. Pardon me. I'll just put that in there. Rejected, returned to sender. And again, I was wondering if his hand was shaking here, given his age, because he really went nuts on this next one here. Rejected, returned to sender. This is the guy you replaced. Doesn't just write rejected. Here he is. I call this the Hannibal Lecter. This is the hack, the child rapist protection racket of Dan DeLaus III. I want to see those defective documents. Do you have a file system in Penfield Town Court? You should, and you don't. I want to see these defective documents where he released Daniel DeLaus III. If you don't know that name, then your incompetence is just reached a higher level. His name, Shah, prove you own that land. I know you think I should be arrested for just using his name. Fuck you, bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler. I'm walking through the parking lot for 4,000 times. This guy is screaming at me in his car. I've never heard a man scream like this fanatic. I go up to him, I say, what's the problem? He's still screaming at me. What he doesn't tell the Monroe County Sheriff's Office when he goes to Shannon Meyer is that he's screaming at me. So I'm trying to talk to the guy. He's screaming. So I walk away. I say, fuck you, want to give him the finger, and fuck you, Paula Metzler. I know you think he needs to be arrested for just saying that to me. That's called the First Amendment, exercising my First Amendment right. He leaves out the fact that he's screaming at me in his vehicle. This is how I get an arrest warrant. For walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. This is who you're with, this psychopath. Here he is living over there with his mommy, a 50-plus-year-old man living with his mother. This Layla Kumar Shah, I was forced to sign an order of protection to avoid this woman. I'm at the YMCA, and she comes up to me when I'm on the wrong machine. I don't know, bizarrely points to something next to me. I say, what's my name? You know my name? She's frightened. She walks over to the YMCA employee, says he doesn't belong at the YMCA, and points at me. The YMCA employee has no idea what this hate-consumed, vile woman is talking about. He says exactly to her, I don't know what you're talking about. This is who you're with. Bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. This guy, Elliot Roth, you're going to be arrested. He refuses to open his mail. Elliot, if somebody said to me, you're going to be arrested, and I knew the name, I would tell that person. Here he is. This guy has a look on his face that I've never seen. He looks like the Grim Reaper when he says to me, you're going to be. So it's not I've committed a crime and the police are instantaneously. A real crime. They are planning to concoct a crime for me by trying to get me to come out of the house. Using Steve Desert and Brock Colatree and Long Count Shannon Meyer explained that previously. Elliot, Who told you you're copied? Who told you I was going to be arrested? Was it Shannon Meyer? She's never happened in the United States of America to an innocent man. And this is the guy. This is the guy a civilian is used to come to my house to concoct criminal contempt for me when it's not criminal, it's not contempt, it's not a crime. Todd Baxter using a civilian to get to my residence. A total disgrace. And here it is, my correspondence. He signed for this. Steve Desmond, 2959 Brighton Henry Line, Town Line Road, Rochester, New York. Quote, you're such a fucking loser that you spend your life cutting grass. I'll break the news to you about grass. When it's cut, wait for it. The grass grows back. You called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office when I came outside for all 30 seconds to tell you toothless fellow loser that Shah and Roth don't own that land. You took your phone out and immediately there were 6 deputy fascist stooges at my house. My question, what is the name of the individual called to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? You will refuse to answer. That's exactly right. He refused to answer. Refused to answer. Using a civilian to come to my residence. These parasites again. Layla Kumar Shah. Telling me I don't belong to YMCA too. Right there. Layla Kumar Shah. Return to sender. Layla Kumar Shah. Neeraj Shah. 50-year-old man living with his mommy that you're with. Neeraj Shah. Return to sender again. They don't own that land. Here he is. Certified mail. Neeraj Shah. Prove you own that land. Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office, real property, can't confirm they own that. If they own that, now why don't you just come over to my residence? Why don't they just do that? That's what a normal human being does. If the roles were reversed and I was over 2041 Penfield Road, somebody's walking their dog, and I see that person repeating, I own the land, I'd walk over, knock on the door, and say, I just want you to know that I own that land, and stay off my land. Or please stay off my land. I would say please. That's not what they do. This is who you're with, these parasites. When I call them parasites, this is why. And you should be able to recognize a parasite. Paula Metzler and James C. Mully Jr. You shoot 2 parasites on a court declaring every single person in front of you guilty. I'm waiting for them to start pounding on the door, screaming my name. Are they going to be here? So, refuse to open his mouth. Because he doesn't own that land. If he owns it, just come over to my residence and talk to me. That's not what this guy does. That's all he has to do is walk over here. I've seen you out there walking your dog. That's my land. Stay off my land. I didn't know you owned land because I've been back there for 7 years and 4,000 times. That's not what this guy does. You're with this guy. You're with hatred. Here he is again. That's not in a big manila envelope. Elliot Roth. Elliot, who told you I was going to be arrested? Should never happen in the United States of America doing anything. And again, he refuses to open his mail. I'm not just putting it in the mail with a stamp. Again, the same guy in the manila envelope, Steve Desmond. Why do you think he refused? He called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to get to my residence to concoct the crime for me just being outside for 30 seconds. It's one of my favorites too. Michael Rather, a $0 employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I'm in the process of trying to find out if Michael Rather, who is $0 on the payroll, is paid private money to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Because why would someone go to any office in the United States of America with $0? If Todd Baxter is using private money from a campaign account, for example, to pay Michael Rather goes into 130 South Plymouth Avenue, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. That is nose, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler and James C. Mully Jr. has more hair than bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. I was demanding from this Michael Rather over and over on email before I finally acquired the payroll, and he was refusing every time. The $0 employee was refusing every time. Paula, with your bald head and that glue, I got a couple of boyfriends that could possibly be interested in you. All right? Now, this is Lee Harvey Oswald, sweetheart. This is the guy for you. Now, Paula, he likes to be on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. All right? So perhaps you could be up there with him one day. And here we go again here. This guy, I've shown this repeatedly. This guy here is Charles Mance. He's got a swastika right there, tattooed in forehead. And this guy could be the psychopath for you, because you're a psychopath, forcing me to sign an order of protection handcuffs that I wouldn't have signed if I wasn't in those handcuffs, and then trying to send me to jail because I sent an email to someone. How many town judges or how many judges in the United States of America attempt to send an innocent American to jail because of an email? That's what you're trying to do to me. How is that explained to the Department of Justice, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal, Paula Metzler, that you're trying to deposit me in jail? An order of protection, I was forced to sign in handcuffs because I know I'm not coming out of those handcuffs. If I say no, and I would have said no. If I wasn't in handcuffs, I would have said I'm not signing it. I signed it because I was in handcuffs. They're on an email link, and they're going to you because they received an email. They are going to the sheriff. You walk through a park that I've walked through 4,000 times. A total disgrace. I'm waiting for them to get here and pound on my door and scream my name. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm waiting for that descent on my life. I'm waiting for them to forcibly enter the residence. I'm waiting for them to do that to me, which I believe that they will do. Because of you, Paula Metzler. I'm waiting for them to do that to me. This extremism and hatred that's descended upon me. Why do I have these blue gloves, Paula Metzler? State of New York search warrant. Where is the identifying marker? That's your name, Paul C. Metzler, to any deputy sheriff of the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office and any other police officer in the state of New York. How is that explained? Any other police officer in the state of New York. Do you know where Montauk, New York is? I'm going to repeat myself in this language. It's the easternmost part of Long Island. Do you know where Buffalo is? Yes, you do. Because you know where SUNY Fredonia is, right? Can any police officer from Montauk, New York to SUNY Fredonia come in my residence? The answer is yes. Proof by affidavit. Where's this affidavit? I'm working on information I'm going to demand from you to allow Lee LaRoe to get in here. Did you concoct this illegal document? Because this is not a search warrant. This is not a search warrant, Paula Metzler. It doesn't have an identifying marker on it. Did you concoct this document? Did you write this document that says search warrant in your library courtroom? Did you do that, Paula Metzler? What's the answer? Did you do this with Lee LaRoe sitting right next to you? Todd Baxter's $91,000 a year criminal. Leah, how did you get this search warrant in your residence, in your hand to enter my residence? Pardon me. How was the process? What was the process? Tell me. Tell me what the process was. I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice that this is a concoction by you, Paula Metzler and Lee LaRoe, and this was used to enter my residence in contravention of state and federal law. What's your response to that? Any laptops, computers, tablets, or other computing devices. You took my Chromebook out of my residence, Lee LaRoe. Why? Because you're reading my emails and going to the search history on the Chromebook because you're trying to concoct a crime for me looking at my Chromebook. Correct? You read my emails. What was in my email? Did you read my email to my mom and dad? Did you read my emails to my friends in Albany and Washington, D.C. that I'm in contact with, that I know for 20 plus years? The answer is yes. The only reason to take my Chromebook is to read my emails and go to the search history to see the websites I visited. How do you explain that to the Department of Justice, Lee LaRoe? How do you explain that this is a search warrant that's not legal, that has no number on it? You typed this document, this disgusting, sick, vile lie in your library courtroom, Paula Metzler, and then you just handed it to Lee LaRoe. She contacted my landlords, Giuseppe and Nino Spano. They were obviously petrified, and that's how you got in here, Lee LaRoe, with this document. You, Lee LaRoe, went to the bookcase that's on its side, and you took every document on there. There are at least 500, and you threw them on the floor. Why? Why did you throw all those documents on the floor? You went through my father's dresser that he gave me from when he was a child in Brooklyn. The drawers were pulled out in my father's dresser. You went into the spare bedroom. My military uniform from the 101st Airborne Division, my dress screens I have not worn since 1988, were on the floor. I have 2 pairs of running shoes for races, a black pair and a gray pair. You, Lee LaRoe, had this pair of running shoes in your hand, or the person was also in here, because they were taken from where they always are. Because when I'm on the bed, I sit down and I look at them, and I think I can hardly wait to get into them and race. Why did you pick up my races? You looked inside my shoes. Fanatic, degenerate, sociopath, and criminal, Lee LaRoe. Fanatic, degenerate, sociopath, and criminal, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. How do you explain to the United States Department of Justice that you're picking up my running shoes and looking at them and throwing them on the floor? Is this an extremism and a hatred that I've never experienced or witnessed ever in my life. So I'm going to repeat myself. Lee LaRoque, these are your blue gloves. These are your blue gloves of hatred. This is an unconstitutional document. That's a search warrant that you, Paula Metzler, typed in your library courtroom with either Lee LaRoque present or you sent it to her, and that allows her to gain entry into my residence. Looking for what? What did you find? You found nothing. There has to be cause or a credible reason to enter any residence with a search warrant. What was it, Paula Metzler? What's the reason for the search warrant? Tell me. Explain it to me, because it's not explained on here. It should be in the proof by affidavit. Crimes of reckless endangerment, trespass, petty larceny, criminal tampering, resisting arrest, attempted assault, violation. All of that is a lie. I leave my residence at midnight on August 30th to walk alongside my residence. 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees were on the private property of my neighbor. I've said this repeatedly. They ran at me. It's dark out. I don't know what that is. I turn around and run away because I don't know who it is. I run up my back porch. The hammer I just grabbed goes up after the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I look to my left, and that's when I found out it's a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. I pulled away. I run back to my residence. That's a felony. This is what these people are doing to me. These criminals, rather, at the Monroe County Sheriff Office. He says I swung a hammer at him. If I wanted to swing a hammer at him, I would have swung a hammer at him. And Lee LaRoque, I would have brought that hammer down on the head of your fellow fanatic and ended his career. What's his name? You know his name, Lee LaRoque. What are the names of both of them? One of them is Don Benedetto, because there are at least 5 of them out there. Isn't that right, Don? You were out there and you $85,000 salary at midnight. We want the property with these 2 criminals. I could have brought that hammer down on the head of your employee, and it would have ended his career, and he would have had serious neurological damage for the short term and possibly for the rest of his life. He says I swung a hammer. I lie. Everything on here is a lie. That's why I'll never appear in Penfield Town Court. You, Paula Metzler, don't understand the way the United States of America works with innocent citizens. A corrupt town judge, and that's you, doesn't summon an innocent citizen into a library to declare that citizen guilty. That's exactly what you're trying to do to me. Because there's no interest for you whatsoever. Do you think I'm going to voluntarily come in there when I know I'm going to go to jail and you want to send me to jail? Fuck you, Paula Metzler. When there's a jury, I'll go in there because the jury doesn't send me anywhere. When the prosecutor talks in court, I may consider going in there. There wasn't even a prosecutor in there on August 30th. How's that explained to the United States Department of Justice that there wasn't a prosecutor? Who called you from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, and told you to be in Penfield Town Court on August 30th? Why was I in Livingston County Jail? You can't explain that either, because if I was sent to Monroe County Jail, I'd be attacked. Who told you to send me to Livingston County when I've lived in Monroe County for 9 years? That can't be explained. Just like $61.39 can't be explained. Why do you think I have that check? That's the money in my pocket. When I was walking in front of the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, the 5 vehicles, the 10 of them, the 11 of them, ran at me, lowered his shoulder, knocked me down. This is the money in my pocket. This is the money I had in my pocket when I appeared before you, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal, Paula Metzler. This is it. $61.39. I'll never cash that check. It says right there, County of Monroe, Office of Sheriff, Inmate Fund Account. Todd Baxter is refusing to disclose the name of his employee violating time because I want to press charges against him. This is assault. I'm attacked by a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. That's not the only time I've been attacked by a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. Does that matter to you, Lee LaRoque? You work with criminals because you are a criminal. I'm in Monroe County Jail the first time after this disgusting hack. Does his name sound familiar? John P. Lomenzo Jr.? I'm writing everything down. I have written 100,000 words on what's happened to me. That doesn't include YouTube. It's just what I've written. Pardon me, 50,000 words on what I've written, and everything, including YouTube, is 100,000 words. So I've written 50,000, and it's over 100,000 with the YouTube. This guy delivers me to jail without even asking me one question. I'm in Monroe County Jail. I'm writing everything down day after day after day on my pad. One of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees came into my jail cell, went to grab my pad. I pulled it away, took my arm, jammed my arm up behind my back. He exited with my pad and pen. I'm trying to fight off this pain. I go to the circular desk. I say to the person at the circular desk, I need to see the nurse. And who do you think comes and gets me? This same guy that just attacked me. We go to the nurse. I tell the nurse what I just said here. She says to me, who attacked you? Who did this to you? And I reply, the guy standing behind me. Paula Metzler, bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal. James P. Mully Jr. has more hair than bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal. The name, charges, sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Metzler Jr., James P. Mully Jr., Paula Metzler. December 16th. Same document. December 17th. Same document. December 18th. Same document. December 26th. Same document. December 27th. Same document. December 28th. Same document. December 29th. Same document. December 30th. Same document. January 2nd. Same document. January 3rd. Same document. January 5th. Same document. January 6th. Same document. December 16th. Language has to be pounded into the brains of corruption, fanaticism, hatred. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Metzler Jr., James P. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. When you decide to comply with the law, I may go back into Penfield Town Court. I will tell the United States Department of Justice you are an assembly line of guilt. That's what this document certifies, and that's why you're refusing to comply with it. First time I was in Penfield Town Court, I had to go in there. I'm sitting there in your little area that looks like a small church. It reminds me of the pews in a small church, I should say. I'm looking at Lamendo up there, guilty, 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 and he is taking pleasure in doing this to people. Taking pleasure in this. He loves, just like you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, and James C. Mully Jr. is more hair than bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, love to take pleasure in the destruction of lives, and that's what you're doing. This misanthropic pleasure in the destruction of lives, it does not matter. Guilt and innocence, separation between guilt and innocence. Does not matter to you. You exist to destroy lives. You're calling the sheriff's office on me, demanding I come into Penfield Town Court. You as one person trying to send me to jail. You do not understand the United States of America, Paula Metzler, because you're not an American. You're not an American, James P. Mully Jr. You're not an American, John P. Metzler Jr. The United States of America and what it represents is alien to all three of you. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.